Well, so usually when I interview a filmmaker, it's in advance of a release, so I can't really speak about the reaction to the movie. But with you, I actually can, which is great, because I mean, the global #1 film. I mean, that must have felt so great to know that the film that you put so much into at one stage topped the charts around the world.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really put it in words, right? The kind of excitement, the kind of the level of happiness that we get, because I mean, every film is like a child for every filmmaker, but the time and effort that all of us so many people put into this film, and getting continuously postponed due to pandemic, so many hurdles, domestic, international, crossing all the hurdles. Just releasing the film itself is a big achievement for us in these times. But if it when it tops the global charts on the first week, it's like, oh my God, we are there. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you always want the best for your film. I'm sure you're always incredibly proud of what you created, but are you still taken back or taken by surprise by a response like this?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, more or less domestically, this is the kind of already expected the kind of response, and of course expected the same kind of response across the Indian diaspora, across the world. But the kind of response that we are getting from the Western world, particularly in US and UK, that we really didn't expect. It is making us super thrilled.
Is this a story, would you say, that you've wanted to tell your whole career? Is this something that's been inside you for a long time that you've wanted to release to the world?
See, there are so many stories that run continuously in my mind. So bringing two superpowers together is something that I had in my mind for a very long time. And when it clicked, having the story of Alluri Sitaramaraju and Komaram Bheem, two freedom fighters from two different places in Telugu-speaking states, but born in the same timeline and having similar kind of stories. It is the coincidences are like unimaginable. So many coincidences. I thought, okay, it is exactly right for me to bring these two forces together, and that would be a great tale of friendship and betrayal. And there was no looking back once I had that. Once those things clicked into place, there was no looking back.
Is there something quite cathartic through the medium of cinema and storytelling to give all of the power to the oppressed?
Yes, of course. That's a natural emotion we feel when a section of people or a person is humiliated or oppressed. The natural tendency of humankind is to see that man rise, to see that people rise. That's a very basic natural emotion of the human beings. So, but if you place that right, yes, it really works well.
Because I feel like I learned more about this period of history and what the British Empire did from watching your film than I ever learned at school. I mean, does that surprise you and almost frustrate you to know how little is actually taught on the curriculum over here in Britain? Because it's always been something. Britain's sort of murky history is definitely undereducated at our schools, I would say.
I mean, two aspects to it. One is like, I wouldn't say what I'm saying is historically correct. They're historically accurate. There are many liberties that I have taken. But in general, if you see, there are stories even more heart-wrenching than what I showed in the film. And it is very skewed if you say the entire set of Britishers are cruel and very wrong in what they were doing. Usually it is not like that. There will be a lot of gray areas. But like I said before, there are parts of people, there are certain people who have been even more cruel than what I have showed in the film. And again, this is, my intention was not to show a history class. No, my intention was to rake up the emotions in the audiences and just go through the roller coaster ride that the film intends you to go to put you through. That's my intention.
You mentioned, I mean, it is a real roller coaster and it's a big movie, you know, it's a real kind of epic film, but I found there to be so much heart and so much empathy within the story. Can it be quite hard to amplify those kind of subtle human elements when you're dealing with such a kind of sweeping story like this?
No, actually, it is reverse. I mean, see, emotions are like the foundations, foundations of a great building that you're intent to build. But if the foundation is not right, how much ever, I mean, in fact, the bigger the building you build, the faster it'll fall. You know, the foundation has to be really, really strong, so that the small emotions or rather the basic emotions have to be really tightly packed together in the foundation, and then you can build however bigger building that you can build. Once that foundation is set, then your imagination can really fly high. That is what I think really works for RRR.
And I mean, every shot in this film, though, feels so meticulous and so significant. And was when you were sort of storyboarding this, did that whole process did that take a long time? And is the finished product quite similar to the film that you first mapped out in your head?
Yeah, I mean, it is like if you take like pieces by pieces by pieces. I mean, there are some pieces which are like even more better than I imagined. Like for the if you take the introduction of Ramaraju, the police officer who jumps into this wave of people and he particularly picks out one guy and brings him back. It turned out to be much better than excuse me, than the way I imagined. Or if you take the particularly my favorite Komaram Bheemudo song, when NTR Komaram played as Komaram Bheemudo is being whipped, and he still portrays his defiance, his betrayal, his patriotism, his pride in his land and nature. The way he portrayed it, the Tar portrayed it, it was really better than the way I imagined it to be when I first envisioned. Those things came out much better than I anticipated. There will be some scenes which are not like exactly how I anticipated them to be, which I'm not going to tell you now because
that was my next question.
As it is, but yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I was reading did stick right from the start to the end was the title, because I read that at one point RRR was a kind of work in progress, maybe an abbreviation of yours and your fellow filmmakers' initials, but you guys decided to stick with it.
Yeah, it's quite funny actually, because see, once we three decided to work together, Rajamouli, me, Ramarao, and Charan, we wanted to announce it to the people that we are working together, and we need a working title. We haven't named the film as of yet, but we needed a working title. So someone came up with an idea like, let's put it #RRR, as a working title. But the audiences, the fans, their fans loved it so much. In their mind, they got it fixed. RRR is the title of the movie. And later, when we are searching for the titles, like everyone why are you naming a film that's already been titled? Okay, fine. We thought, okay, let's go ahead with it, and we just put an abbreviation for it, like Rise, Roar, Revolt. But essentially, the name of the film is like RRR.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned about, so just said the word hashtag. I mean, I was just wondering when it comes to, I mean, you've got such a sort of huge amount of sort of followers online and stuff. How much has that the interaction changed with audiences now that you can put a working title out there and then you can have dialogue with so many people on Instagram or Twitter? You've been doing this for a number of years now. Has social media changed the way the film industry works at all in India?
Yes, I should say it creates quite an impact, but we can't be sure whether it's a positive impact or a negative impact. You should really learn to understand the voices of the people. They might abuse you, but that abuse might not be what their intention is. They might praise you, but the praise might not be what their intention is. Over a period of years, as you interact on the social media, getting a collective idea of what people are thinking about your film is very important. You should have the ability to completely take away the opinions of the people regarding yourself. You should have, as a filmmaker, I should have the ability to completely take it apart and just take the information what they're talking about the film, not about you. And that too, it is you have to have the ability to read between the lines, not to get too emotional about what they're saying, whether it's positive or negative. You have to be able to judge it as a collective feeling of a people. It's quite difficult, and it's very easy to get lost in the emotions and get negatively affected by the social media. I think over the period of years, I understood how to understand people.
Yeah. I was going to say, because it's when you put yourself and your art out there like that, you're always open to hearing people's thoughts and opinions. But I guess it's just something you get used to. I mean, you don't get too much bad criticism, I should say, though. Luckily, your films are very well received. But yeah, that must be something you just slowly over time get more experience at.
Yes.
I was going to ask as well, but there's some scenes with so many extras, and I just wondered about how days like that are on set. Managing such large amount of people in one place. It reminds me when you see like a dog walk in the park and they have like 15 dogs and they're trying to all at one time, because it feels like you've got so many people doing different things. Do you almost just have to take a step back and let everyone do their jobs, or do you still want to be in control of every department?
No, I don't want to be in control of every small thing. That's the reason why we have experienced technicians and their assistants doing the job that they're doing. It's a very well orchestrated chaos. If you visit the set, you might see so many people moving around in aimless directions, doing aimless things. But everyone is working to a point, and the system is in place where every assistant director or every assistant who are reporting to their heads of departments, and heads of departments are reporting to me. There is a system in place, so there is a very well orchestrated network which is making all that chaos look like what it's supposed to be on screen. We have a little bit of experience from Baahubali, how we dealt with people, how we need to work when we are dealing with a lot of people. So that experience really helped us, even though there were many more nights in RRR compared to Baahubali, where we are working with more number of people and also with different other people. It's not just Indians who were working on the nights. We had Ukrainians, we had Bulgarians, we had English people, and so many people from different cultures who are coming and join that chaos. But because of the experience and because of the network of people that I had, we were able to pull it off.
Do you ever are able to step back on a set and think like, wow, all of these people here together creating my story? Is that quite an overwhelming feeling, or when you're shooting and you two caught up in the work, to have that process?
Yeah, we too get caught up in the work, but there are many times when I just there are moments when the shots are being set up and you have a moment to take back and you notice, like, just imagine this 2,000 people who are like moving around, and all of them are moving because I thought of something in my mind. Just that one idea in my mind is making so many people work here, and money is like going like 75 lakh rupees. I don't know how to convert into euros. You do the sum, but 75 rupees for every 8 hours. Is like, just because I had this thought in my mind, is like really, really overwhelming and frightening. Yes.
You have an expensive mind. But this is we sort of mentioned used the word epic. I'm sure you've heard the word epic a lot, because it is a really big, sweeping epic. Would you call this movie your most accomplished work to date? And do you think you're getting better as a filmmaker? Because like any craft, with anything people do, with experience, we tend to grow and learn new skills. Is that the case for yourself?
At this point of time, because I'm in so much love with the movie. My answer would be like, yes, RRR is my best film to date. But a realistic answer would be 6 or 8 months down the line, when the euphoria completely dies down. But I can hand on heart, I can say that as far as the performances go, this is the best work of mine till date. The kind of work my actors put in, everyone, and especially Charan and Tarak, the lead actors. Then again, I'm saying this again and again to so many people, and I can't stop gushing about it. The song Komaram Bheemudo, when Tarak is being whipped, and he's showing his defiance, his love, his pride, his betrayal, everything in that one song, and aptly complemented by the friend who is giving his punishment by Charan. I think that is the best thing that I have done in my entire film career so far.
Yeah, I mean the two lead performances are so good. I mean, how is it sort of managing such big personalities? And I think the two actors and the two characters complement each other so well. You never get a sense as an audience member that there's anything competitive. It all feels like they've really come together to create the best story they can.
Yeah, I can understand as a director, dealing with one star itself is difficult. And when you have two stars, it becomes increasingly difficult. But personally, I haven't seen them as stars. No, I have known them for such long time, and I almost have an elderly brother feeling towards them. I feel protective about them, and they have a kind of respect towards me personally. Outside the film field, they have a kind of respect towards me. So that worked for us. I can't say that will work for everyone, but for RRR with NTR and Charan and me, that really that relationship that we share off screen really helped me bring these two superheroes together and do what they're supposed to do.
And obviously they were complimented as well by the wonderful Alia Bhatt as well, who I was lucky enough, I interviewed her quite recently, thanks to Tony, who sorted this one out today. She's a wonderful actress as well. What was she like? What was she like to collaborate with on this project?
She's I will call her, she's a very cunning actress, because she seems very, very innocent, but she observes everything and she gets what the director wants, like that, and she just does what she's supposed to do with very minimal facial movement, with minimal body movement. She conveys everything that needs to be done. No, I'm really in awe of her. Her acting prowess. I really, really like her.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that you get quite protective over your actors. So I was interested to know when you have sort of really popular Bollywood actors and actresses, Deepika Padukone, Priyanka Chopra as well, as making the move to Hollywood to make films. Is the Indian film industry and population, is there a great deal of support and pride seeing them out there making movies, or can there sometimes be a sense of wanting them to stay in India and make films? Because as though saying like, yeah, are these movies not enough for you?
No, there'll be both kinds of feelings. Sometimes the people have so much of love for the actors, and when they see moving out, they feel like, no, please don't go away from us, please be with us, kind of feeling, which is very understandable. And there also will be a feeling like we take so much of pride in not just Indian actors, Indian entrepreneurs, Indian software engineers, Indian doctors, scientists. When they perform so well outside the country, we take a lot of pride in it. The same kind of pride extends the actors also. Particularly on mentioning PC, I'm a big fan of her. I really like her when she does so well in States and outside the country. We really are proud of her.
And because sort of the movies in India and in the Bollywood film industry are so huge and so sort of successful, when it gets, is there an inclination or a need or desire to want to see the films sort of expand and do well in UK and America, or are you guys generally quite happy enough when it's just a huge success on home turf?
No, I'm very, very greedy. You can call me that. See, I think any filmmaker primarily is a storyteller, and if you're telling a story, you want a larger audience. If you get a larger audience, then you want even more bigger audiences. There is no end to that greed, and you want your stories to be heard by maximum number of people. So far, my films are doing well in many places. We call it, okay, we have a global filmmaker, but essentially my films are doing well where we have Indian diaspora across the world. No, we didn't cross that boundary yet. I need to. Of course, it happened a little bit with Japan, with Baahubali 2. I was so happy with that. With RRR, when I'm getting this appreciation from Westerners, especially in US and UK, not just the patronizing kind of appreciation, just like the appreciation that we get from our own people, the wow kind of thing when it's coming from them. I think, oh my God, this feels so nice. I really need to push it a little bit more.
Yeah, because I've seen that, sort of Sanjay Leela Bhansali has a Netflix, he did a Netflix sort of work. Is that something you'd be quite keen to explore as well, to try and work with some of the streaming giants of today?
I need to understand. See, right from my childhood, I have been thinking in terms of cinema, theaters, right? Every visual, every emotion that comes to my mind is automatically attached to the big screen and with audiences around. I understand the power of OTTs, the streaming platforms. I understand the extent of reach that it has. Like I was telling you earlier, every storyteller wants a large audience. I really understand the power of this thing, but I have to learn that. I really want to do work for OTT to reach the larger audiences, and I need to also get a balance between, is there really a difference between the big screen entertainment and the small screen entertainment? What is the difference? I know the basics, but I really want to understand before I jump into it.
Yeah. So do you reckon that you would almost plan or picture the movie differently if you knew it was for a smaller screen?
I'm not saying I have to, but I need to study it. I need to understand it.
Yeah. So do you ever think that there could be a time where, for example, because I mean, where in films, sort of Indian and Bollywood movies can infiltrate the Oscars, for example, because it does feel like it's such a successful industry that it's almost self-contained to some degree, particularly in the eyes of kind of, maybe American or Hollywood audiences. But do you think as we grow and the industries grow and films like RRR are so successful around the world, that we could see more of a kind of melting pot between the different industries?
If you go to the base of your question, the emotional connect is the same for whether it's an American or a British or an Indian or a Japanese. The emotional connect is the same. So if you have a story based on basic human emotions and you get everything right, the possibility of the film succeeding in every place is the same. But there will be many external factors, like how would you tell a South African that there is a film in India which will connect to you? There are so many physical hurdles that needs to be crossed. So that is a marketing, distribution, telling the people, advertising. It's a completely different ball game. And confluencing the artists, the technicians, that this thing should happen because it enhances your art, not because it enhances the commerce. Yeah. The moment you step into this, okay, I get an English actor, I'll get all the English audience. I get an Indian actor, I get all the Indian actors. So if I get them, I'll get all of them. No, you lose all of them. Yeah. But your art demands that you need different kinds of technicians and actors to collaborate. Now is the best time to do it, and it will work.
Well, you mentioned sort of working with British actors. Of course, in this there was quite a fair few in the film. I just wondered I was interested in the British casting. If you had a kind of agency in London taking care of it, or did you want to be very involved in that side? And was it? I guess it was all done sort of on Zoom and stuff.
I mean, interestingly, the way we do casting in India, or at least for my films, is different. So I just write the script, check out the characterizations, and see which actor is good for the character. Someone from the manager calls the actor. If he's in, he's in. If he's out, he's out. It's as simple as that. I thought the same way works for British actors also, but it didn't. And we were just picking out names from the films or the TV series that we like, and just making phone calls, and it was not happening. I was so disappointed, that like, why is no one working with me? And then I was talking this to Shekhar Kapoor, the director, whom I knew, and I was explaining to him, and he said, "No, that's not how you work. You have to approach a casting agency," and then things immediately started falling into place. And I had Ray, and I had Ray Stevenson, Alison Doody, and Olivia Morris. All of them just like happened within a space of month, and they are wonderful people. They came to India, I think, almost the first time. Maybe Ray came once before that, but they were here, and they were working in Indian atmosphere the first time, and they really understood how the work culture in UK or in the West is varies a lot from the Indian work culture. But within 1 or 2 days, they understood the Indian work culture, and they just merged themselves so easily with us, and we had a great time working together.
So I've only got time really for one sort of final question, really. But I was wondering if you're already working on your next project, and when you've worked on something as big as RRR, at what stage does that go? Like, right, that's done, and now I go on to the next, or can sometimes there be a little bit of time where they kind of merge at all?
So usually what we do is just take in the accolades, just enjoy the success, have a great time, and maybe 2 months or have a holiday or something. Then all my family is my strength. My father is my story writer. My cousin is a music director. My sister-in-law is a line producer. My son is a line producer. And all of us just sit together. We are a team, and we wholeheartedly rip the film apart. What are the mistakes that we have done, whether it is in the writing, whether it's in the direction, whether it's in the making. Is there something better we could have done? Is there a more lean machine that we can process, that we can bring in to make the film better and effective way? And we really tear ourselves apart. No mercy, no mercy. So and we take all the we take all it in, analyze everything, and then we close the book. Yeah. Of course, the memories remain with us. The beautiful memories will always remain in our heart, but we just close the film and just put it in the shelf and start the next film like it is our first film.
Yeah, I'd like to be on the fly on the wall for those moments where you rip it apart. So have you, just to quickly say, have you got the next one in your mind? You don't have to tell me what it is, but do you know what your next project will be yet?
Usually, once a film releases, I go for a holiday and take some time off. But because it was a different situation with RRR, we completed the film Jan 7th. We are about to go to the release, and because of the pandemic, we had to push again to the March 25th. So in between, I had 2.5 months. I got nothing else to do. My father called me and said, "Don't waste your time. Let's sit on the story." And we dabbled with a couple of lines, which are quite interesting. Both are action adventure kind of movies. But now the film has released. We'll take it a little bit slow. Let us finish the ripping apart. Then we will sit on the story and take it forward. It is with Mahesh Babu that we already announced. He's the protagonist of the film. It will be an action adventure film. But the rest will follow later.
Thank you. Well, in the meantime, just enjoy all of the wonderful success and that this film deserves, because it was a wonderful film. I just can't get it out of my head. And thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real pleasure speaking to a real master of craft.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you
so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey You Guys.